Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to have videos. The paid request this time from Marion. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, re-reviews, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the 2012 film 21 Jump Street. Now, it's based on the TV show, which I didn't watch much of the TV show. I knew Johnny Depp starred in it. I know it went on for a couple seasons, but I never followed it. I never watched it. And then this film came about. It was a nice big surprise hit. I think because there have been quite a few movies that were based on TV shows, whether it be Starsky and Hutch with Ben Stiller, which they did make some money as well. There's The Dukes of Hazzard. There's a few other shows, and this one I thought was a lot more funny. I definitely thought it was funnier than Starsky and Hutch, the movie. I thought it was more entertaining. There's a lot more curses, but I thought the timing of how a lot of this was said and showcased worked very well in its favor. And I thought Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum did an excellent job where they had a lot of great chemistry with each other. Now, and Jonah Hill, I've liked him in some stuff, Superbad being one of them, The Wolf of Wall Street. He got more in shape, and he looked pretty good for what this film needed to be, and I thought he played off Channing Tatum very well. Channing Tatum is a guy that would give a lot of crap to. But films like this maybe kind of changed my tune, where I could see that he had a nice comic timing where he kind of knows how people look at him. Kind of like how they do in this movie. They look at him as the guy who's pretty, but he's a doofus, and he's not that smart, and he's like the dumb jock mentality, and he plays that to a T. I actually didn't mind him in films like White House Down. I actually like that more than Olympus Has Fallen in that franchise. And I, again, true to kind of like and not mind Channing Tatum after stuff like this. Like I said, I think he played off the comedy very well. To me, he's like a better version of John Cena in that manner. You also have people like Ice Cube and Dave Franco, and you have a pretty good cast to help support these two. But these two really grew a great bromance, to put it, throughout the film. You really bought them becoming friends and caring for each other and wanting to watch each other's backs. So while as funny and as coarse and vulgar, there still seems to be a nice heart to it as well. And I do find the film consistently funny, even when we watch it today. Yeah, it was looked at as an R-rated Bad Boys meets John Hughes, and I thought that combination is actually very appropriate. You see these guys how they were in 2005, where Jonah Hill was in his Eminem phase, trying to look like Slim Shady, while Channing Tatum was the jock. They both don't get to go to prom. It's years later. They go into police academy. They meet each other again. One finds out they're good at the tests. The other's good at the physicality. They help each other out. They get through police academy. They become partners as bicycle cops. And that's especially when the humor really kicks in with the way they interact with each other. I say they're natural in their dialogue with each other. Like they've been friends for years. The cursing, that could be mishandled. Like Rob Zombie, I think, does a lot of mishandling of that in his movies. But here, it felt like great punctuation points. Like, for example, Channing Tatum can't remember the Miranda rights. You have the right to suck my dick, motherfucker. They get in trouble. They get put into the Jump Street organization. And also the film kind of knew what it was and tried to be fairly meta with it. Now, yes, sometimes it's very much on the nose when they're talking to their boss and he's saying, we came up with this new program where recycle shit from the past and expect us not to notice. They try to play off stereotypes and cliches. I thought that was actually kind of smart and fun and clever. Like, I mean, Ice Cube admits I'm the angry black captain. Because there's one in 48 Hours, there's one, hell, in Last Action Hero, which they play off of that. And as Ice Cube puts it, yeah, I'm black. And sometimes I get angry. So suck a dick. And yeah, it's the way these punctuation puts in there, the exclamation point, I should say, the exclamation points, that really elicit to be a good heavy laughter, at least from me. And the story, if you get into that, is there's a synthetic drug in a high school. They have to pose undercover. I like that people try to pick on Channing Tatum. You look like you're 40. You look a lot older. What the hell's going on? Were you held back a few years? Or there's a chase scene where you expect the typical explosion, but they keep waiting for the explosion. It doesn't happen. Oh, I thought that was going to explode. I thought that was always a clever... Because now a whole lot of movies have done that type of joke. There's a lot of movies, it seems like everything explodes. And here, it plays with that until eventually giving the audience what they're looking for, what they want. But also it dealt with the characters. It dealt with, finally, Jonah Hill, who was unpopular in school. Now he gets to be with the popular crowd. He gets to feel that importance of being popular and how it is to be in that limelight, and becomes friends with Dave Franco and this girl, 18-year-old girl. And I don't know how old Jonah Hill was when he did the movie, but he does look decently young, so you can buy him a bit more in this field. But I like how they think about how high school used to be and how high school has changed tremendously. Like even in 2012, how pretty much the nerds have become the more popular type of folks. Like back in the day, it wasn't cool to like Dungeons and Dragons or comic books. Now it's the norm. Now it's typical. In fact, now you're the outsider if you don't like that kind of stuff. It's kind of weird how things have shifted and done a bit of a 180. And they play up into that. And they play up into the whole PC. Before PC became even more of a thing years and years later. Like Channing Tatum's trying to be tough. You gotta telling Jonah Hill, if someone comes at you, you gotta punch them and prove your dominance, so he does it. Oh, turn off that gay music. You hit me because I'm gay? No, I didn't even know. But listen, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I punched him, and then he turned out to be gay. I was gay before you punched me. Well, actually, it'd be homophobic of him if he didn't punch you just because you're gay. Like, that's utilizing that type of PC thing, but in a fun, smart, to me, entertaining way. And Dave Franco, I thought he did a good job playing kind of our, not main villain, but kind of second fiddle to our main villain. But I always thought he was a good actor. I thought he did a pretty good job with what he needed to do. And like I said, there's a lot of moments of dialogue I just think of that just make me laugh. Whether it be Ice Cube telling Channing Tatum, don't fuck any students, don't fuck any teachers. Then Jonah Hill is starting to talk. He's like, listen, big titties, I wasn't talking to you, you cherub-looking motherfucker. Okay? If I'm talking about lady, talking to him. If I'm talking about other shit, I'm talking to you. Or when Jonah Hill's trying to pray to the Korean Jesus, and Ice Cube's like, hey, stop fucking with Korean Jesus. He's busy. He's busy with Korean shit. And yeah, I thought Ice Cube actually did a good job. They utilized him well. A lot better than in films like Fist Fight. Like Fist Fight, Ice Cube is one of those guys that, as an actor, you have to fit him in the right role. When you don't, you get films like Fist Fight, or, in my opinion, Ride Along. Even though those made money, I think they're really lame movies. Ice Cube fits better in a film like this, where he can unleash, not hold back his dialogue, and is used well. in small spurts. Other funny moments I enjoyed, the bit where they're forced to take this drug and they're getting high, and part of the steps of being high is to be very sure of yourself. So Jonah Hill has been a track meeting, he's messing around with the baton, hitting other people's batons when he's running, and Channing Tatum is saying all this stuff, and you realize on the board he just wrote 800 times. And he's like, fuck you, science. But my favorite bit is when he's in the band. He's like, come on, guys, keep playing. Come on, you gotta spite that shit, okay? Yeah, fuck you, Miles Davis. It's just the timing. Yeah, spite that shit. Fuck you, Miles Davis. And then he turns around and goes through I forget what the hell that instrument is. Like the gong type of thing, goes through it. He jumps through it. That, I still crack up at that. Probably my funny bit in the movie. The bit I find the funniest in the movie is that bit. And the movie continues to be consistently funny. I mean, I forget who the character was, her name, but they go back into their Jump Street precinct to talk to Ice Cube, and one of the other cops that goes, yeah, we did our job. We're not like you, two people staying around, figure popping each other's assholes. No, we want to pop each other's assholes. Figure pop each other's assholes. Like that lady and her delivery of that, I thought was really on point. You two staying around, figure pop each other's assholes. And yeah, the movie, I don't really have a lot of problems because I think for comedies in recent years, like this is 2012, so I mean we're in 2023, but just from a few days. So let's go back 2022. So 10 years. Technically it'd be 11, but this is 10 years. In the past 10 years, I would put 21 Jump Street as one of the funnier comedies of the past 10 years. And I like the sequel as well. I think 22 Jump Street is a very funny sequel. Very worthy sequel. I would have been curious to see a third one. I know there's talks of them with Men in Black, which is so weird that I will admit part of me would have been interested to see. Can't be worse than Men in Black International. I can already tell it would be much better than Men in Black International. But, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think they're going to do any more. It's been so long. I think it's too late to do it. And, Men in Black is a completely dead franchise. Men in Black International really cemented that. The directors, I don't really know what they're doing. I think at one point, weren't they the ones going to do that Solo movie? And then they got fired. And then Ron Howard came in to reshoot stuff. That didn't... Maybe this is the better that you got fired because Solo sucked. I don't even know what those guys are doing nowadays, the makers of it. Jonah Hill, I don't know what happened to him. I saw the trailer he's doing with Eddie Murphy. That movie that looks awful. It sounds awful. Sounds like Jonah Hill has a lot of white guilt and decided to put that into a comedy. I forget what it's called, but it's like a new film with him and Eddie Murphy. It looks god awful. I'm like, what happened to Jonah Hill? He melted. He looks like he melted. His face melted. I don't know what the hell happened. It looks like... God damn. Even if you looked at the sequel, 22 Jump Street, and Wolf of Wall Street, he looks pretty good. Then you looked at that, it's like, what happened to him? Is that his dad? Why does it look like he aged 30 years? And it looked awful. It looked unfunny. It just... My God. Channing Tatum, I guess he's doing another one of those Magic Mike movies, which aren't really my cup of tea, those kind of movies. But for those who like it, yeah, they'll like it. I know he wanted to do Gambit for a long time, but that's a dead deal. That ain't happening. Now, if you're talking about action, the action, I mean, it's not a lot of action. You did a little bit with a car chase where our characters are in a student driver car. There's some fun stuff in there where, again, you don't know what's going to get blown up and when it's going to happen. There's a little bit in the finale, a little bit of shootout. Now, I have a friend named Effrey who hates the film. And I perfectly understand why. I do. Heavy spoilers. He's a big fan of the 21 Jump Street TV show. Again, I never saw it, so I can't say anything about it. Johnny Depp makes an appearance and plays his character from the show. The same character, Tom Hansen. They're undercover DEA. He even mentions, oh yeah, I used to be on Jump Street. And immediately they just shot to shit. Shot in the neck, shot to shit. They say a few words to each other and they die. So if you're a big, sincere, heartfelt fan of the show, you're not going to like that they turn into a R-rated parody. And also you're not going to be a fan that they killed off characters you enjoyed. If I put into a perspective for me, it would be like if the A-Team movie, which I didn't like, but if that movie was more of a comedy parody, where in the third act, Mr. T and Dwight Schultz and Dirk Benedict, because George Papard had passed away, if those three came back, tried to build something for, like the A-Team did, and then in the middle of it, them and the truck got blown up. Like, they were ready to get in the middle, they just shot up, and they get blown up, and the A-Team van gets blown up, and it's done as a comedic effect, and then the stars move on to their journey, to the finish line. I would hate that movie as well. So, if you're a big fan of the show, I understand that completely, perfectly. I feel bad for people who are a big fan of the show, because I feel bad that happened. Again, for me who didn't watch the show, I can't say I felt anything because of that. But I do understand. I mean, I don't think you need to kill them off. If you want to shoot them up and then they're in the hospital, and then maybe Johnny Depp, fuck you, as they go into the hospital, the ambulance. I think that joke could have worked as well, or better, I would say. I mean, if it's supposed to be such a ridiculous thing, have it be like, yeah, he got shot 10 times, like he was 50 Cent, and he still survived. I mean, it's not like it'd be the most ridiculous thing in this movie, or the sequel. But it is what it is. The acting, I didn't mind the girl who played the girlfriend of Jonah Hill's character, the mom and dad of Jonah Hill's character. Like I said, I think the way Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill played off each other, they had really good, solid chemistry. And there's just a lot of moments that made me laugh. I thought it was a nice bromance, had a nice heart to it, and it was entertaining, it was fun, it was never bored with it. Like I said, if you're going in for action, you might be disappointed in it, but again, it's more of a comedy with a couple of action beats. I wish Jonah Hill had a bit more to do in the action department. He does have like one moment, that's pretty much it. But it's just that, I think there's more moments he could have done and partook in. But at the same time, I still, even after all these years, I watched it and I still thought it was pretty funny. I still thought it was pretty clever. and I still found it a very entertaining film. I didn't just like the sequel. I don't even know which one I like more, because I do like both of them quite a bit. Like I said, they are some of the better comedies in the past 10 years. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later.